gather some chakra real quick. Welcome back to the next module. Okay, guys, this is why you signed up. This is what separates my YouTube and my Patreon, right? On the YouTube channel, we're talking about topics, but we're talking about topics very surface layer. On YouTube, all I'm doing is like exposing topics to the masses, right? I'm exposing topics. So we talk about things like discipline, focus, ambition. But if you're into self-development, those things are very surface layer topics, right? Those things you already know about. And also they're not really that practical. They're not practical things that you can apply right now that you can just put into your arsenal and just become your top version of yourself immediately, right? Those are very vague topics, right? Very surface layer. Patreon is where I am going to just digest and just spew out and just erupt all the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years, but in practical, specific context. So what do I mean? We're not talking about just principles now. We're talking about tactics. We're talking about strategies. We're talking about playbooks. We're talking about things that you can apply right now that will get a specific result in a specific context, okay? So this is where the content gets amazing. And even you can see on the screen right now, we're going to be talking about social adaptability. Like, even to me, that's just baseline shit. Like, you guys may think what we talk about today is going to be powerful. To me, it's just baseline shit, which is what I mean. Like, the stuff we're going to be discussing in this course today and in the future is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, okay? But also, before we get started, what I want to mention is that because, like I mentioned in the introductory video, because this course is about life in general, it's about everything. It's about social skills, right? It's about girls, right? It's about it's about discipline. It's about being healthy. It's about your chakras. It's about metaphysical reality. It's about it's about all these different sectors and avenues of life. I'm not going to be structuring this course like, okay, today we're going to talk about this, and then this entire month we're going to talk about this. No, whatever I feel that energy in the moment that we need to discuss, we will be discussing exactly that. So it's going to be all over the place, but it's going to be beautiful, right? Because it's going to be all over the place because we're discussing every freaking topic in mankind. You know what I mean? So, but also, as I'm uploading these modules, right, I'm adding tags, okay? On Patreon, there's tags that you can add to every video. So once there's like 50 to 100 different modules in the Itachi Uchiha course, and I've already uploaded breakdowns and shit that's not even in the Itachi Uchiha course, just extra videos, it's going to be hard to kind of like find the videos. But it's not. All you have to do is go to the tags and type in and click on the ones that say Itachi Uchiha course, and all the modules from the Itachi Uchiha course will pop up, and it'll be much easier to find the videos that you want to watch, okay? Let's get into this. Let's get into power. Are you ready for power? Are you ready for power? I'm not talking about surface layer shit anymore, not on Patreon. This is about power. This is about power, okay? Specific tactics and strategies that we can apply immediately to become our highest versions, okay? So also what I'm going to say is, as we go through topics like this and topics like just manipulation and persuasion and influence, things like that in the future, I'm not advocating you use any of it. I'm not advocating you use any of it, okay? Some stuff is going to be very evil, could be taken as very evil, very powerful, right? Very manipulative. So warning, use at your own discretion. All consequences that happen are your own choice. I'm not advocating you use any of this. I'm strictly just showing what I've learned over the years, what I've seen over years through direct experience, and how we can apply it, right? But I am not advocating you use any of it, okay? So I don't want to hear any shit like, oh, some bad shit happened to me and it's your fault, MK Brad. No, it's your fault. Use awareness. Let's get straight into it. Social adaptability. Now, Itachi Uchiha, more than any character I've seen so far in anime, I wouldn't say any, but he's the highest echelon of being socially adaptable. What do I mean by this? What is MK Brad's definition of being socially adaptable? All it means to be socially adaptable is to have a specific goal and to know how to place yourself and position yourself to get to that goal and maneuver yourself through social situations to receive the end goal that you have, right? And the goal is obviously it has to be a social goal. When you have a social goal, so like I want to be at this status at my job, or I want to be at this status, this position at my school or my job, or whatever the case may be, with girls, with friends, whatever. Social adaptability is to know how to position yourself in any social situation to get the end goal. Itachi. Well, let's just get straight into it, okay? The first thing we're going to talk about is the 48 Laws of Power. So I do not recommend reading books. I think you can learn everything you need to learn through taking action. But if there is some books that I want you to read, which are going to be on the Millennial Kingdom book list, if you have the highest tier, I think it's Jonin and Hokage, you guys get access to that book list, then you will see that this book is on the list, right? There are some books that I think every human being should actually read, right? But most other books, 99% of books in self-development are mental masturbation. So let's talk about the 48 Laws of Power real quick. All you guys need to read this. This is, I'm saying it's mandatory. I'm not sure if you guys are going to do it or not, but this is a book that I find mandatory for this course in general, because all the stuff that we're going to be talking about in the future, the manipulation, persuasion, influence, you're going to need to have something like this as like a backup, right? Now, how does this relate to Itachi Uchiha and to what we're about to dive into? The first law of the 48 Laws of Power is called never outshine the master. What does this mean? It says it on the screen. Read along with me. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Now, Itachi Uchiha was in a very, very interesting context because he was in between two opposing armies, two opposing variables, two opposing groups of people. You had the Uchiha, his own clan, right? The Uchiha clan, and you had the village elders, the village elites. They were bumping heads. They hated each other. They were ops, right? And Itachi Uchiha was in the middle. He was loved by both. Why was he able to do this? Why was he loved by both when both sides were complete arch enemies? You would think, most people in that situation would be like, yo, bro, you're on the other team. Like, we can't have you on this team if you also are on their side as well. But Itachi was on both sides and everyone loved him. Very, very subtle things Itachi did that we're about to talk about. So let's get straight into it. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will have the heights of power. So what Itachi would do, especially with like the third Hokage, is he knew how to make them seem very, very powerful without making himself seem like a loser. So, for example, if you're trying to increase your position at school, what you're gonna have to do is find a target, someone who can enhance your position. But what most people do when they try to enhance their position at a job or within a social frame, right? They find a specific individual and they leech onto them. They latch onto them, and they're constantly trying to just take. What the person above them sees is like, put yourself in like your own specific shoes, right? If someone is trying to come into your friend group, but they're being very needy, right? They're trying to leech onto you. You're going to push them away. You don't want them in the friend group. What would make you want to add someone into your friend group, even if you knew that they were just not using you, but they had sought you out? What would you do? What would that person need to have in order for you to be like, yeah, I want to add him, right? I want to add him into my group. What would that person need? He would need to be offering value to you, immense value, so that you would fall in love with that person, right? How do you do this? The law explains it. If you can make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, you will attain the heights of power. So Itachi would go to people like the third Hokage at the time. And here's where we can start to get into tactics and strategies, right? The senses that Itachi would use is, if you go back and watch the film, Itachi would ask for help. He would ask for advice. Now, maybe he was doing this subconsciously, but me and you can use this consciously. And I've done this so many times in my life. Listen closely. This is a very, very, you could say, manipulative tactic. And it works 24/7. If you can make someone feel extremely needed, right? If you can enhance them, right? They will make you attain the heights of power. They will want to give you the heights of power. So one very, very almost demonic tactic that you can use is, if you have a target, right? And you want that target, if you want to befriend that target, go up to that target, right? That person, and ask for advice. So, for example, you're in a job, right? Or let's take school. You're in school, you want to become the most powerful kid in school. You see some powerful kids, you want to befriend them and so they can enhance your life. You go up to them, you go, yo, bro, I noticed you're good at X, Y, and Z. And like, I'm kind of dealing with this thing in my own life. Would you be able to give me some advice about something? Right? Go up to them. Yo, bro, I'm actually dealing with this thing real quick. I know I've seen you around school. Like, you're actually really amazing at this. I thought I'd just ask shit out and just ask for help real quick. Would you be able to help me with this situation? Why would they say no? You're literally telling them on a subconscious level, right? This is all happening subtly and behind the mirror. You're telling them, you are amazing, you're great, I'm less than you, you are more than me, and I need your help. I want your help. When you say I want help, that's on a subconscious level, under the radar. They perceive that as, I am amazing, I am better than somebody, I am valuable, and someone needs my value. That makes them feel amazing. And now on a subconscious level, here's the demonic part about this, right? On a subconscious level, even though they're seeing themselves as more important because you're asking for help, on a subconscious level, they're attaching great emotions and emotional egotistical value with your presence. They're attaching their own self-validation, their own self-worth with your presence. When you're around, they get enhanced. And so what they're going to do now is make sure that you're always with them. Do you see the power in this? And when this happens, you are now in that social circle. And then if it's time for you to pull the trigger and take an action where you become the center of attention, you are now in the environment to do so. I'm telling you, bro, we're getting to the nitty gritties, bro. I'm giving you tactics. I'm giving you straight, like, just powerful, like, CIA, just straight demonic, like, just Machiavellian stuff that we can use. Once again, I'm not saying to apply it. You can apply it at your own risk, but stuff that we can use, right? Okay. Running the middle, right? So running the middle is it's a very strong tactic that Itachi used, right? Because he was playing both sides. So the law one of the 48 laws of power that we just talked about, that works with one target, okay? That works with one target. Running the middle is something that I came up with where it involves two groups, okay? Excuse me, it involves two groups. Itachi mastered this, and I got this from Itachi. So like I said, Itachi was loved by both the Uchiha clan and the Hokage, right? The village elders, the village elites, you know, the Danzo, the village elders, and the Jonin of the Hidden Leaf, right? How did he do that, okay? How is he loved by both if these two sides were arch enemies? You need to learn, once again, here we go, strategies, tactics. You need to learn how to place yourself in group think at all times, okay? So whenever you're in a social situation where you're in a group, there's a group of people and you need to make sure that you're liked by them. You need to adopt their group think. So never do anything that is going to outcast you from the group. If you're trying to, okay, so for example, take a chameleon. A chameleon is an animal, right? What makes a chameleon a chameleon? Why is that such a famous animal? It's able to adapt to any environment, okay? No matter if it's in the forest, in the water, in grass, in the trees, right? No matter where it's located on Earth, it's able to shade and shift its color to match the environment that it's in. You need to do this in all social situations, right? With the goal, right? We're only do this if there's a goal in the process, right? So if the goal is to get to high status, right? Or the goal is to make sure that a multitude of different groups love you, you need to use your social adaptability and awareness to figure out ways to shift your color for every environment, aka social group that you're in. So if you're hanging out with a group of people, let's just take school, for example. If you're hanging out with the nerds, you need to be able to pick up on what makes nerds nerds, right? Building reference experiences of what makes nerds nerds or dorks dorks, and then apply those to your own personality to fit in with that group when you're with them. And then you leave them and you go to a lunch table where it's all the cool kids, right? Or all the football players. You need to turn on your awareness and become aware of what makes them football players, whether it's the lingo that they use, the phrases that they use to talk about, specific topics that they talk about. Are they talking about girls all the time? Are they talking about certain video games all the time? Are they talking about whatever topics, whatever things that they bond about? You need to pick up on those things and then apply it when you're in that environment. What you're doing when you're doing this is you are becoming a chameleon. Your shade, your color is shifting with the environment so that you fit in at all times. Now, when you fit in at all times, when people think that you're a part of the group, they're never going to push you away. You only get pushed away and outcasted from a group if they feel that you're not one of them. So you need to be able to pick up on how to become a chameleon, okay? You need to pick up on how to become a chameleon. And then you need to adapt to every social situation and shift your color with every environment. When you do this, you're doing what I call running the middle. You're in the middle, right? Most people, 99% of people, they're part of this group, right? They're Republican or they're Democrat, or they're nerds or they're the cool kids, right? Or they're the emo kids, right? Or they're whatever. Everyone is identifying with a group, but hardly anyone is just by themselves. Hardly anyone is just running the middle. They're not part of this group. They're not part of that group. They're part of both. They're just in the middle. When you're in the middle, you're not attached to any specific group. You're free to go wherever you want to go. You're free to go wherever you want to go. So when most people are like, okay, well, I want to be the cool kid, right? I want to be the coolest kid in school. They can't actually maneuver themselves to that position because they're already locked down and attached and chained up by a specific identity group. Does that make sense? They're attached to one specific group. So if they ever try to leave that group, the people in the group are going to be like, you can't go be the cool kid. I thought you were emo kid, or I thought you were a nerd or a loser or a dork, right? I thought you were one of us. So if you go for that position, you're just not one of us anymore. But if you're running the middle, you're able to pick up on all the personality traits that applies with every single group. You can be in all groups at once. This is what I call running the middle. And this is exactly what I did in my high school career, right? And we're going to talk about that. I'll give you a little quick story time in the next module, but this was part one of social adaptability, right? You need to be able to turn on your awareness, right? And use these specific traits and tactics and strategies that we're talking about. You need to be able to apply them when need be if you want to maneuver yourself to a specific goal in social situations. I'll see you guys in part two.